Hey, 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 hey. Hey, Hana Pepe, hey, Hana Pepe, hey, Hana Pepe town. Gonna buy a cup of coffee and talk with Uncle Lahi by the movie theater they closed down. Find a place to perch, maybe outside the quiet church, make my ukulele make a little sound. See an art show with my baby, eat some shave ice with the cakey, watch the moa as they run around, watch them running around. Hana Pepe town. Hey, Hana Pepe, hey, Hana Pepe. Like a train we travel, sometimes get derailed. Pain is hard to handle, hearts that get impaled. It goes on and on and on and on and on. It goes on and on and on and on.
What is it about Valentine's Day that in 2023, you being a partner, a father, a family man, and thankfully singer-songwriter, working musician, 20 plus years, not only in Hawaii, around the world. How's your approach for Valentine's Day in this day and age?
In this day and age, well, how my approach for Valentine's Day, and actually for most of the gigs that I consider, if I have to travel from Maui, you know, if I have to go, then it's myself, my partner, my son. You know, it's like if I'm doing a solo gig, that's 3 tickets, 3 round trip tickets, hotel room with 2 beds, you know, even going to the mainland or whatever, or just any other shows, you know. It's like I always have to think about including my family now, because I don't want to not be around for my son. You know what I mean? Like I was for my other kids, you know. It's not an option because it's so precious.
How does that color the way you approach music from your earliest albums like Acoustic Soul to now?
Well, it's like it's commitment on the relationship side, as far as being a dad, being a partner, being committed to something. For a long while, every decision has to be thought about and inclusive, and you know, think about the whole, how it affects the whole. Many years, it was just, you know, I tell people like, oh, you've been married? Yeah, I've been married. I've been married to my music for 50 years now, and that's the only commitment I've had was to it. You know what I mean? For all those years, that was always first. You know. So now it's nice because I'm being able to work at home now. I'm getting my recording at home thing down finally, you know, after the years. I mean, I remember when the pandemic was starting, I was like, perfect, I can learn the Logic program. I can record at home. You think I did? No. The whole pandemic, I was like making garden boxes and doing other stuff, you know. Now I'm figuring out at home. And so like I don't have to go even drive down the road to go record something. I can just wake up and like turn the thing on and record something, you know, and just finding my way around, you know how programs are, that learning curve. So it's nice to be doing that because, like, I've been working on this new project, a film, doing all the music for this film. It's a musical. We're going to release EP in about a month.
Okay, so then March 2023, give or take.
Yeah, March 10th, actually. That's the date we're going to release the first single. Started off as a rom-com, you know, with just a few things of music. I kind of convinced the writer/director that maybe we could write it ourselves.
Is this Hawaiian Heart?
Yeah, Hawaiian Heart. And so that's what we've been doing. And then he disappears for like a year after the pandemic and comes back and goes, well, Yeah, I got some songs that I've been writing for it, and wouldn't you know, it turns into a whole musical. Now it's a musical. The movie's a musical with 14 songs that we co-wrote. So it's like cool because that's a good chunk of work to keep me busy. But and new stuff. Trying to do stuff for film. It's like working from home is awesome. Having to I mean, I love traveling. Don't get me wrong, but it's
family has to be nearby.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my son's got to be quiet sometimes. Hey, turn the TV down. I'm trying to record, but it's all good.
I like how you approach music. You put it in your phone, go to the studio.
Yep.
Somebody has track of it. But it doesn't necessarily have to grow beyond that. It's like you're planting Johnny Cruz Appleseed.
Yep. As many. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about these phones. I get an idea. I just sing it into the phone and I have it. Let's see, Sunday. What was it doing Sunday? It was my songwriter partner who I've been writing songs with. I just sent them this the other day because this popped out of my, popped out.
A father, 3 sons, been a daddy to none. Oh, is me.
Right? So that's, boom. But I didn't have time to work on it, but I knew there's this great song in there because I'm working on this other song the last few days that my sister Tifa is going to be on her album. And I was like, I have to record that little piece that came into my head. I sent it to Mark Hirschler, who I've been writing songs, co-writer for 30 years. He's working on that song. And I just am finishing Tifa's song, which so funny how all the elements just kind of, and the vibe comes together.
Is that something new that's coming to the forefront, being a producer, engineer? I mean, you've always been a songwriter, singer, first and foremost, but working with people.
No, I've always done that. Also, I've always done that. That's, I like getting right in the middle of things, I've been doing the songwriting festival, Hawaii Songwriters Festival, since the beginning. I've been to more of them than anybody else. I've been on staff for it, and it's one of the things I look forward to every year. Just the craft of writing and being able to share that with people and the other songwriters that come over, the other staff, and the other even people who are attendees and stuff. It's mind blowing. I mean, this past year, we hadn't had it for a few years, but this past year, I mean, one of the workshops that I did, 10, 12 songwriters in a circle, and I do like 4 or 5 of those sessions during the course of the workshop. But one of them in particular, every song was just, oh my God. Like, ranging from 14-year-old teenage girl from Lanai, third song she's ever written, playing like whoa, to, this next, I mean, it's just awesome to be in the mix of that. It feeds me. I feed it. I'm just so glad that I'm real grateful that I can still try to remain relevant as far as, and try to be, someone who is a resource. I can provide help. I love helping people, and I love when people can help me. I respond naturally to something. It might not be what somebody was looking for, but so what? I just responded to it, and I know what that feels like to do that, And if it does, if someone goes, "Wow, awesome, work together," boom, get it done. My sister just sent me this song. She says that it was she had a dream a few years ago, and our father, was singing this song, and she was like, she said he sang like 15, 18 verses or something in their dream, but she remembered a couple of the verses, a handful of the verses, so wrote it down when she woke up. She sent me this song, last week, and was like, help me record this song or whatever, it'd be awesome.
What is your sister's name?
Tifa. She's a pastor she's and a musician, songwriter. She's married to a producer, songwriter, singer, artist, Imua Garza.
That's wonderful that just like every other singer, songwriter, that there are certain people that can bring a little something different. And so that's why you always want to keep that network open. Yeah.
And she teaches songwriting too at the Pacific Bible College. She has songwriting. She's awesome. But I was like, I wasn't sure how this song, you know, because I kind of changed it quite a bit, the whole vibe of the song and the type of song it is and everything. But I spent a couple days recording it, working on a demo of it, and I sent it to her just like the night before. And I was like, oh, you know, and yeah, so I'm gonna, when I get home, you know, tomorrow, right back to work on it. I have a demo of it, but now I'm gonna record like the real, replace the tracks that are on it with, you know, ones that don't have little flubs and all this kind of stuff.
You sound like you still have that hesitation where I believe in this song, but when you release it to the wild, it's still that that humility and that humbleness of like, we don't know how other people are going to react. I love this song, but
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
yeah.
And you know, with
How do you get over that kind of? It's not imposter syndrome, but you know what I mean. It's that
Yeah,
you know,
so-
that fear of
well,
like just doing
yeah,
it,
you
just
wanna-
letting
you-
it go.
Well, for one, it can cripple. Sometimes it can be crippling because you're so unsure about what people are, how it's going to be received and all this and blah, 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 blah. And we all fall into that, you know, go down rabbit holes where, I mean, it's so ridiculous when you recording. Sometimes you're in the studio, you're like, you've taken 4 hours working on one little part for a song. And it's like the three of you are like, oh, going on, let's try it. And listening to it so intently, just this little thing. Nobody's ever going to hear what you're working on. They're going to be listening to the whole song, but trying to get, you know, we're like inside there and trying to get and it's like, no matter how ridiculous we all know it is, we still do that. You know, we still find ourselves going down that trap because thinking like, oh my God, because if this was right, then the whole, it's like most people don't even, I mean, you think most just listeners, most musicians aren't even going to hear what we're talking about. You got to let go. I'm learning to do that.
When we think John Cruz, Island Style, your recent revamp with Johnny Helm for Hawaiian Airlines.
Exactly.
What was the first song that you wrote and you had your, you know, it was like it's you through and through and you released it, like getting back to the, you know, sometimes the fear of being a singer-songwriter and you just have to jump. You just have to perform live.
Yeah. It was when I was, you know, on the mainland, when I first started writing, like, you know, I was like, okay, I'm a writer. I need to write songs, you know. And for a while, I was only playing, you know, original music because I needed to, you know, go down that route. And believe me, a lot of songs were awful. But, you know, you got a gig coming up and what? It's 2 hours. Oh, no, I've only got an hour worth of material. Well, you better write some songs in the next couple of days or, you know, you're going to have to play, you know, Drift Away and a couple Marley songs, which isn't too, you know, you can do. You get out there and you play stuff for an audience that you know right away what stuff's working and what's not working. So that's the good thing about that. Interesting story, though. The first song that I ever wrote that I said, okay, this is a song that I wrote and I wrote it. You know what I mean? I was living on the mainland and my brother Ernie said, you know, hey, I'm going to record, you know, Cow Crater Boys. We got this band going and I want to record one of your songs. I was like, oh, cool. What one? And he's like, oh, they recorded You Don't Write, which is the first song I wrote when I was like 17 or something. First song that yeah. So they actually recorded that song. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, why you want, like, I was like, why that song? I'm thinking like, you don't want to record any of my other? He's like, no, that one done. We've been playing it. It goes over well. I'm still on mainland. I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Record it. He sends me the thing. I'm like, oh, cool. I mean, to people in Hawaii, Hawaii Cow Crater Boys, I think it was their second album, and it was like right when they broke. One of the songs that kind of like, you know, brought them up kind of into the next realm. But to me, it was like, I get the thing in the mail, and it was cassettes back then, you know, right before CDs or that cassette period when I put it in. And to me, it sounded like how Ernie and Troy sound. I mean, I knew what Ernie and Troy sounded like because I used to play with them when I was a teenager, you know. I said, oh, cool. It sounds just like, you know. But I didn't know what they had become in Hawaii until, you know, when I came home and I went to my first show, you know, 2 days after I was home, one Cow Crater Boys show, and I'm like, and I realized what they had done, Ernie and Troy. And then, soon after that, by the next, 3 days later, I'm in the group playing with them. But that was an interesting thing about, an interesting story about a song.
How much was You Don't Write, the arrangement, maybe the lyrics and the way they sang it, was it very different from how you originally?
Exactly like how I wrote it.
No
but with a
kidding.
different group. They had the little cow. Right. Kind of like a reggae sort of thing. I wrote it just as like a more like country pop song. You don't write, but I've been waiting for your call. Say it, busy, baby, but is that really all? I mean, Ernie stayed true to the melody and the whole the progression. Everything is they just put the little cow stamp on it with the groove. Oh, you don't write to me anymore. Hardly call me on the phone. Yeah, so that was awesome. To be like struggling in New York, trying to get my songs heard, trying to get whatnot, and then unbeknownst to me, I've got a huge hit song back in Hawaii. And then I'm like, Hawaii. I don't want to be in Hawaii. I want to be over here. But so it's funny how things work.
And it's great. Over time, you can be based in Hawaii and it
yeah.
travels all over the world.
Exactly.
Yay, technology. One
I
of the
know.
upsides. One of the
Awesome
upsides.
technology.
Yeah.
You gotta love it. In fact, I need to start going back to doing streaming concerts from home. Say you travel to California, so you go play in Santa Cruz or somewhere. You do it next time, and then you go to head south and you play whatever, right? Well, yeah, the people who are in Santa, they'll be able to come and see you play live, whatnot. But what about all those other people all out the world who are fans of the music? That's what I found out when I was streaming. I think we talked about it a little last time. Where it's like people in Switzerland are like in their living room and they're watching me in my living room and they're loving it.
Yeah.
It's a huge lesson. I think the pandemic brought but it just created opportunities for different ways of connecting.
Before we talk about the Valentine's Day concert at Blue Note Hawaii on February 14th, 2023, John Cruz and band, let's talk about the Hawaiian Airlines campaign in 2023. Your song, Island Style, it was a slightly different arrangement, a different kind of musical approach. And Johnny Helm, one of the...
My brother. Ruben Carrillo, the filmmaker, right? He had approached me about, he does the Hawaiian Air, the in-flight videos, just videotape a song, a performer. He had approached me and said Hawaiian Air had re-upped it, some contract he did, and, they wanted him to get 10 performers, match them with other performers. So, Henry, matched up with some, Nolan got matched up with some, Hamey got all these people. I got matched up with Tavana. And it was like, just want to do a song, I'll film it, and it'll be put on the Hawaiian Air in flight. Okay, cool. Johnny, of course, one of my dearest friends. I love him so much. He was producing, he produced that song, Mama's Little Baby, which was a song included on my first album. But in the meantime, I'm trying to think to myself, how can I get my songs, where are the other avenues to get my songs out there? I'm doing this gig every week on Maui. Weekly gig in Kihei. Been trying to get the tourists down and, a weekly show in a theater, a nice show. And the day that we were filming the video, I'm talking to Tavana. Yeah, Tavana, you know what? He said, he knows the guy who owns the ad agency, who does their Hawaiian Air stuff. Tavana calls him and leaves a message, and then I'm going to get in touch with him because I've had these ideas. And I hadn't even thought about, the Hawaiian Air using this Hawaiian style. It's just like thinking, I can get on the content on Hawaiian Air because people coming on flying Hawaiian Air, I find out about my weekly gig, and get my songs in front of people. And then I get home that day and Johnny calls me that night. Johnny Helm goes, bro, I just got blah, 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 blah. They want me to put together demos they have an idea of using your song. And at the time it was my song, another one, and another one. They wanted Johnny to put together quick demos of these 3 classic, songs that are in the. and they were going to present those 3 songs to Hawaiian Air, that agency. This is the perfect song for what Hawaiian Air needed, right? And I was just like, oh my God, John, you would be, I was just talking about it. So it just, the timing of it was like unbelievable. We started talking to it with Hawaiian Air. I mean, the little brief, you know, was describing how they're going to use the song. You know what I mean? I mean, it was just, I could see it. It was just a perfect, and that song, I've never licensed that song for advertising. Recently, I've done, Magnum, Hawaii Five-0. I did the White Lotus, and, you know, these things. I just started licensing it, you know, and I've been asked over the years, companies have asked me to do it. I just have flat out just turned them down because I just wasn't interested, you know, because the song, I mean, thankfully, it came through me. That song kind of belongs to more people than me in a sense, you know? So I wanted to do that song right, you know, and let it be. Yeah, so it was perfect. The way that they used it, it's just perfect. Actually, I did license it about 10, maybe 15 years ago. Olelo, you know, Olelo channel. Olelo, the TV.
The community
the
channel.
community channel. They asked me if they could do it. Yeah, you guys can use it. And they were giving me a little bit of money yearly, you know what I mean? And after a while, just, you know, you guys don't have to pay me. You guys can use it. So they used it for, I don't even know if they're still using it in some of their spots, but that, no problem. Yeah. I'm glad that Hawaii, and they were so well done. Johnny did an excellent job with the music part and the video. I mean, the way, so it's happy.
Island style, when you talk about your grandma and your mom and we doing all these things, who were you thinking of?
First verse, Mama's in the kitchen cooking. That's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm like, Mom's in the kitchen. I'm in the living room, or my sister and them, we're all sitting around watching TV or sitting on the porch or whatever. And what would happen is my mom would be singing, you know, just washing dishes or cooking and singing some song, you know, just whatever it might be, you know.
What music do you think of when you think of your mom? Like in those instances?
Motown, R&B, soul. She brought those records home. That was all, you know. I mean, we had a heavy supply of Aretha, Marvin Gaye, Otis Redding, Gladys Knight. Oh, Gladys Knight, Temptations, Jackson 5, all that stuff. And, you know, besides top 40 radio, but at home with records and stuff, our house was the place where everybody came to play records, you know. It was my mom's, it was all that kind of stuff. Because my mom, that's the stuff she sang when she was in a band. She sang that kind of stuff. Was that stuff, yeah, so that's, you know, I could picture my mom singing, you know, you make me feel, just kind of humming while she's cooking. And then my sister sitting on the couch watching TV, singing a harmony, not consciously, just kind of watching TV and singing another harmony. And me sitting on a porch singing a low harmony and just like, that's how it was, you know, that's what I thought about. Exactly that. Mama's in the kitchen cooking, you didn't realize, beef stew and soul, we eat and drink and we sing all day, kani kapila, you know, that's like, it was so natural that it happened, that came out like that. Going grandma's house was always something because whenever we would go through changes, and we were going through a lot of changes, my mom was when she had all those kids, you know, in that sort of buffer period, all of a sudden we'd be living back at grandma's house. You know what I mean? And when you was at grandma's house, especially if you was living at grandma's house, on the weekends, you know, clean yard. You know, grandma always cleaning yard on you know. So it's like, hey, get out there, help your grandma. That was part of our trip. So, you know, and you knew you wasn't going to be long before grandma would tell you, you don't know how clean yard, and tell you go back in the house. So you wouldn't even have to go out in the yard and pretend to clean yard wrong, because you knew what was right. Because grandma, no matter what, you couldn't clean yard the right way with grandma because she was very particular. So it was like, okay, Mom, get out there and help your grandma. You know, and so that was just so natural for that that song, you know. So that was that. And my dad, of course, he used to give me kind of little shit like, oh, when are you gonna write? You know, when am I gonna hear? You know, oh yeah, Mama's in a kitchen. You know, he used to kind of joke around with me like before he passed. He's like, when any chance I'm gonna appear in a song sometime soon? You know. So yeah, so I wrote a song for him finally. Day.
Valentine's Day, Blue Note Hawaii and Waikiki. Who are the bandmates for the Valentine's Day show?
I am so blessed, right, to have my brother Tony, been playing with me over the last few years, off and on. Also, so blessed to have Blaine sing in my band now, and he's just what a joy. I mean, I couldn't ask for a band member that was more talented, committed, together. Now, Blaine was playing bass in the band for about a year, and like I just told him recently, I'm playing bass now. Michael Ruff on piano from Kauai, and he's been awesome playing with it. And then Sean Carroll, who's here on Oahu, Sean's been playing with me off and on he played with my brother Guy for many years. And then there's a few special guests that'll be, gracing the stage.
Is there a song in particular that to you is where you are in terms of love and family that you're like automatic, I need to have this on Valentine's Day for the Blue Note show?
Probably Love Will Find a Way. Yeah. Day sky likes the moon, wind is in your hair, lilacs lure the lovers, spring is in the air, feelings well within us, like the sun will rise, all that life can give us when we realize love will find a way. Love will find a way. Darkness come, you're still here. And I've been through some rough times. Now I'm seeing clear. And it's a wonder for my eyes to see. You're right here, right now, sitting next to me, and love will find a way. 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 No matter what they say, no matter what they do, we are here tonight. It's up to me and you. Love will find. Love. Abridged version.